artificial intelligence concern with working on language was all about syntax, and people were just parsing sentences and putting them in grammars. And I thought, really, how about meaning? Don't we have meaning? Don't people have ideas they want to convey? And as I started to work on that and figure out how to represent that, I ran into the problem of inference. People just don't say X, there's also Y. So when I tell you John hit Mary, well, you might want to say, well, why did he do it? And is she angry? And did she hit him back? I mean, you have 1,000 ideas in your mind. And so it isn't just the words or even just the ideas, but there's more than that. And that led to naturally to case-based reasoning. And the real problem, the reason for case-based reasoning was I was fighting with the expert systems people. We were seeing in AI in the 80s what we're seeing AI now, which is way overhype about it. And so people are constantly talking about it. Expert systems were going to change the world. Well, expert systems were rule-based. And people, they'd ask experts and they say, well, how do you do this? And do you do that? And they give you rules. You don't necessarily have all this conscious knowledge of things. And what I began to realize is that when people understand something, they understand things in terms of things that they've experienced, things they've done. So past experiences help you interpret the new experience. My classic example was always, John went into a restaurant, he ordered lobster, he paid the check and left. Well, first off, what did he eat? I didn't mention eating. Second, why was he playing somebody from the Czech Republic? Well, that's not what I was saying. So in order to understand it, you have to bring in a whole knowledge about restaurants. What you order is what you eat. That there aren't Czech people serving you, that a Czech is something else. That what's going on in the entire situation brings to mind. Now, if I tell you a particular restaurant, since we're talking the UK, so as I say, I went to Gordon Ramsay. Well, you might say, well, how could you afford it? Was it really crowded? How'd you get a reservation? And because suddenly knowledge comes in about Gordon Ramsay that brings to mind something different than I say I went to Joe's Pizza Place. So we bring in past experience to help us interpret new experience, and that's what case-based reasoning is about. I quit being a professor because I'd had enough of it. I actually think the university system is fraudulent, and I got tired of being part of it. But weirdly enough, I immediately got hired by Carnegie Mellon University to run their West Coast Silicon Valley campus, in which I said, you're asking me, you know I'm an education radical and I don't believe in anything in the university. And they said, just be quiet, do whatever you want. So the first thing I did was look at all the computer science, is what I was working with, all the computer science programs that they were delivering, and I was going to do master's programs online. And I looked to see what they were, and they were collections of courses that are unrelated to other courses. And I've created something called the Dragon Slaying Curriculum. And so the king was very upset about dragons, so he called all his best people at the university to get together and create a Dragon Slayer curriculum. So there was a course on the legal ethics of dragon slaying. There was a course on the biology of dragons. There was a course, an introduction to dragonese, so you can talk to the dragons. And when the kids graduated, they all got eaten by the dragons, and no one ever told them to slay a dragon. They never tried to slay one. And I said, what you need is a story. It could be about dragon slaying or anything else, but it has to be something that causes you to try to solve the problem. My current example right now, I'm completely obsessed with cyber attack and defense because the US government is, and they asked me to build a story-centered curriculum. And what are we doing? We're in contrast to what exists out there. And you see, oh, we teach cyber. No, you teach courses in cyber where people memorize facts about cyber, but actually you have to learn how to attack and defend. You have to find suspicious files, and you have to figure out how they got there, and you have to figure out how to get rid of it. So what we do is we throw them in immediately. We put a fictional story. All right, you've just been hired by the US government to solve this problem. Oh, we're getting an attack. Go fix it. I don't know anything. Okay, try to figure it out. And we have in there a mentor always, somebody who will sit there and help them think about it, not answer their questions necessarily. My company's not called Socratic Arts for no reason. We answer Socratically. Oh, how do you think you might do that? And it's basically a sink or swim methodology. I'm going to throw you in the water, and when you start to drown, I'm going to help pick you up so you can try again until you actually learn to swim. And my theory on all education is that we know how to teach children just fine until they go to school. Because up until they go to school, they do what they want. And so everything about education, in my mind, the story-centered curriculum is the point, is put you in a situation and let you, that you choose to be, that you want to do, and not that someone said you have to, and that you try to figure things out for yourself, and you can ask for help when you need to. And we have lots of help available from human mentors, but also because it's online curriculum, we know the kinds of questions you're going to ask and the kinds of troubles you're going to create. So we anticipate them. So story-centered curriculum is a piece of fiction that you get involved in. It's like a movie. You go to watch a movie, you're involved in the movie, you care what happens. In this case, you're also learning, but it's supposed to be the moral equivalent of a movie, exciting and fun. What I think about education is that you should have something you want to do, and then I should help you do it. That's why I'm back to 6-year-olds. She was coming up for whatever she was coming up for. It was her goal, not mine. I don't remember what she was coming for. Who cared? She had a question, she asked. And so the issue is, why don't we treat students that way, in corporations or in school? Corporations, frankly, hate training. So what they try to do is make it as short as possible. That's why right now you see with 2-minute lessons, or 1-hour lessons, or because you can't learn a damn thing in 2 minutes or 1 hour. What you have to do is dive in and try stuff out and fail a lot and have somebody help you. And that's the only way to learn. It will take a long time to learn that way. So it's never going to be a course. Courses themselves are the problem. Never going to be a 40-hour course. You can learn nothing in 40 hours. Well, you could learn to swim, little things. Nothing complicated in 40 hours. Because education takes practice and takes trying stuff out. And training corporations and schools don't want to spend the time on that. The school story is this. You probably not know why you studied what you studied at school, but I'll tell you why. Because you're training to be an orator in the Forum in Rome. That's who designed the curriculum. History, literature, philosophy, mathematics. The Romans decided that. They decided that for training orators in the Forum. The orators in the Forum who were being trained were, of course, the elite rich who were never going to have to work. They never thought for 1 minute that that was a way to train people for actual life and actual jobs, because these people were so rich they were just going to be debating in the Forum. So they trained them to do that. How this got to be the curriculum the rest of the world offers is insanity, total insanity. The word liberal arts is a Roman expression, artis liberalis. The fact that we have decided this makes sense appalls me. The issue is the most sensible thing you can do. You ask kids, they've done this study in London and in New York, ask kids what they want to be when they're like 8 or 9. They want to be astronauts, they want to be actors, they want to be zookeepers, turns out to be one of the big ones. So how about if we train them to be zookeepers? Okay, they're not going to be zookeepers, but think about all the things they could learn while learning to be a zookeeper instead of learning algebra. They could learn about how first, the zoo is a commercial enterprise, how to run a commercial enterprise. Second, of how what animals' needs might be, whether zoos are reasonable places. I mean, there's all kinds of interesting issues they could be discussing, but instead we're making them memorize the Pythagorean theorem. For what purpose? It's useless. So that's schools. Corporations, weirdly enough, copy schools. Why? Because everyone in corporate training went to school, and they think it's normal. And what is the single biggest problem in school? Again, the Romans are responsible for everything. The classroom. Why would we think that we put 30 people in a room all at once and think that's going to work? You talk at them, they ignore you. Some people memorize everything someone's saying because they want to get A and be patted on the head, and some don't pay a bit of attention. And then we expect it, and anyway, whatever's happening, each of them are thinking different thoughts. So what we do is try to make everybody sit quietly and pay attention. You know what they really teach in school and in corporate training? Pay attention. Sit down. Shut up. And corporations shouldn't be thinking that. I mean, the schools are bad enough that they do that. The corporations should be saying, hey, I need you to learn how to do this, and here's a guy who's going to help you do that. Or if you can't do that, then you can build it online. Here's an online guy who's going to help you do that. Try it out. The problem with why corporations don't want to do that, first, if they're caught up in the school model, which is, it should be a classroom and there should be less. Weirdly enough, the number 40, the courses are always 40 hours in universities. They're spread over a semester, but they're always 40 hours. And corporate training is also 40 hours. Typically, they'll fly you in on Monday and you can leave on Friday. There's a magic about you could learn something in 40 hours, which is nonsense, total nonsense. You know? Because you don't need technology to do it right. What you need is one-on-one. In other words, if you have a child and it's 0 to 6, i.e. isn't going to school yet, you're one-on-one with it. You're there to help them. You don't give them lectures. You wouldn't listen. You introduce them to things. Hey, here's the zoo. Hey, here's the bicycle. And you help him when he falls off. And you talk to him about the animals. Whatever it is, it's a constant interaction. And the kid eventually says, I want to play with Legos and build blocks. And then he cries when things fall down. And you try to help him not cry, but you're helping him achieve his goals. You're not giving him goals. And the problem with school is school gives you goals that you don't really have. And training does the same thing. And the thing is, training could be so much more better improved by the fact that we could ask people what they want to learn how to do of the things that are in the company and say, okay, then we'll start training you for that. Instead of saying everybody must take compliance training and everybody must take values training and everybody, this doesn't work. All right, why is technology irrelevant? Because I could do all of that one-on-one. But the only reason why technology is necessary is the person who's your expert, who's going to help you, may not be there. so it's very nice to have your mother or father when you're 0 to 6, and they are pretty much likely to be expert at anything you care about at that age. But when you're talking about adults, they're not going to be experts lying around. So the real reason of value of good online training, most online training is terrible, but the value of good online training is the expert could have been pre-recorded to pop up as needed, and a mentor could be available and be handling 100 students at the same time, and you could have a range of where, when you need help, it's available. But the fact of the matter is, the major value of the technology is one thing and one thing only: simulations. And this was invented long before computers are quite the way they are now. We had the best educational technology ever invented, the air flight simulator. When you get on an airplane next time, be thankful for the air flight simulator, because you can be sure, even if it's your pilot's first flight, which it could be, he's flown something just like it in simulation. And these air flight simulators actually look and feel exactly like airplanes. Why did we do it right in that case? Because the US Defense Department actually wanted its fighter pilots not to die. That's why. So they're willing to spend the money on it. And in the end, people are not willing to spend the money that's necessary for training and education. So they always back off doing it right. Technology is irrelevant. It's helpful, but you can do it without technology. All right. First thing, you need to define what you want your people to learn how to do, not what to know. And I had this problem. I was hired by a German water utility a few years back to help them think about training. And I spent an entire week with their staff. And at the end, I said, okay, now bring in your expert, because it was a human resource training thing they wanted. Bring in your expert and interview. And I just sat quietly. And they just asked questions, asked questions, and asked questions. And every question they asked is, what does a new hire need to know? I said, after about an hour of this, I said, so you didn't hear a word I said? Somebody said, well, what does a new hire need to, how to do? And I said, well, yeah, but the way you get at that is by asking, what mistakes do new hires make? And this was a German water utility. And they said, oh, the expert said, oh, well, they don't understand how to answer questions about computer programs. I said, what? They'd never even bothered to ask to get the answer of what this company was really doing, is it was selling software to other water utilities. And when the new hires had to answer the phone to deal with software breakdowns. And these people never even got that question. They never understood what question to ask. So the person who was the expert was basically had memorized the new hire manual, was essentially reading it back to them. And I said, no wonder your courses aren't working, because you got to understand that it's about not being able to do something, and you got to go find out what that something is. The best way is to find out what the mistakes are. So that's one. The second tip, throw them in the water. Let them sink. Let them drown. Let them demand, I need help. Let them figure it out on their own. Drowning's a little strong, so let them flail and say, I need help. Well, what's your problem? What do you need help with? Why can't you figure that out? Get them to actually become curious and upset about what they don't know, so they ask for it. But again, it's not what they don't know, it's what they don't know how to do. And the last one is, be there to help them when they have trouble, because they're gonna have trouble, because learning is hard. And if you don't put them in difficult situations and you don't help them when they get out of them, you're never gonna teach anybody anything. Otherwise, the training that companies create is just window dressing. Look at this great training we have. It doesn't work.